Alright, what's up guys? So we're back. We're going to be doing a install today on this 22 WRX that came in here. We got this Killer Bee dual catch can set up. So we'll just be following their instructions, putting it in just the way they intend. Let's see what we got going on under the hood here first. Looks like we got the Grim Speed intercooler. It's already got a Boomba catch can on there, so we're going to be taking that one out, putting this one in. I assume it's probably going to use pretty similar hookups to this thing to install, so shouldn't be too bad. We'll probably start by taking the air cooler out. Or maybe we'll start with the front catch can first. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see where we start. I like the way this WRX looks though. It's got a pretty cool wrap on it. Starts red in the front and kind of fades into the factory gray in the back. Got the carbon fiber trunk. I guess if you guys want to check out some more of it, you can go there. Rip KB 43. Alright, so first things first, we're just going to take off the factory intercooler. Haha, except it's not a factory intercooler, it's Grim Speed. But if you do happen to have a factory one, I'm sure it'll be exactly the same. This will be my first time taking off one of these on the new VB chassis. Haven't really worked on too many of these yet. You just don't really see them around getting modified much yet. Looks like we'll probably just start by taking off 12 here, possibly 12 there and here, and then a clamp on the charge pipe. Shouldn't be too bad. Alright, it's a little hot because this car just got here, but it was pretty much about what I thought. So it's got like piping comes off the bottom here. Looks like this new design. So instead of using couplers, it just uses O-rings that apparently seal on the throttle body. It's kind of neat. I've never seen that before. Yeah, anyway. So I guess we'll start by doing the catch can that goes in the back here. Might as well start with the harder one first. And then we'll do the easy one in the front once we're all done. Shouldn't be too bad. Alright, so it looks like the first thing they want you to do after you get the intercooler off is take off this big old hose that goes from the top of the intake manifold down to the PCV valve, which these new PCV valves are freaking huge. Apparently it's a 27mm socket. So we're going to pull that PCV valve now, and then we'll follow the rest of the instructions after that. Alright, once you get your nice girthy PCV valve out, I believe they want you to take this new barb fitting here, the brass one, and we're going to put some plumber's tape on it, shove it back down in that hole where the big one came out of. Alright, got my fitting all nice and taped up. So you can zoom in there. So one thing to keep in mind, guys, is any time that you're dealing with a fitting like this, it's basically like an MPT fitting. So it's like pipe threads. So these fittings are tapered. It is not meant to bottom out in the block. Don't keep tightening it down until it bottoms out. You just tighten it down until it's tight. If you look at the factory one, you can see it a little better. It's got kind of a cone shape to it. It starts out a little bit smaller diameter and gets to a bigger diameter as you tighten down. That's how they seal up. So don't bottom it out or you can crack your block, and you don't want to do that. So like I was saying about that fitting, it's all the way in there right now and it's nice and tight, and you can see how many threads are still sticking out. It's totally normal and that's okay. Next up, they want us to install this on the firewall, pretty much right where those two studs are coming out. Except it looks like the way they gave this to me was with the bracket backwards, so I'll have to cut that zip tie off, turn it around, put it back on. That's the correct way. We'll get this thing mounted on there. Alright, so I got it nicely installed there. I didn't have to cut off the zip tie, I just had to kind of turn the clamp on there. They give you two little nuts to install on there as well. Pretty simple. And then next, I believe they want us to kind of secure the hoses together nicely. And then we're going to be taking the longer one here and routing it down to this barb fitting nice and neatly. So I'll get that done real quick and then I'll show you what it's supposed to look like. Okay, so I got the bottom hose ran. Basically runs all the way along this way, goes behind that bracket, and then let me get down in here. I'll show you how I did it. So I put the clamp on and basically used just a 1/4 inch ratchet with 8mm socket on there, and you can get in there just good enough to tighten up that clamp. It's not easy, but let me show you an actual. There you go. Now you can see it better. So get that nice and tight. Get it on there. You'll be all good. The next thing we're going to be doing, I believe, is taking the old PCV valve, cleaning up the threads really nice, putting some tape on it, and we're going to be sticking it in this this fitting right here on the end of the other tube. Alright, so I got the old PCV valve stuck into the new hose fitting, and again, make sure that you don't bottom it out. You just get it in there until it's nice and snug, and then we're going to be basically running this to right here and using the supplied coupler and clamps. Should be pretty easy. So we'll get that on real quick and I'll show you. So once you get it all done, it should look just like this. Basically, just to recap, we got the catch can in the back here. It's mounted against the firewall, 2 nuts. Got a little zip tie, hold the hoses together nice and cleanly. Comes around this way. You got the one that goes down below and goes to the bottom block port, I guess you want to call it. And then the top one connects up to the intake manifold nice and cleanly. Get it clamped on there good. And that's pretty much it. The front one should be pretty easy. I think we'll get the intercooler back on first, and then we'll do that one last. By the way, before you just walk away from the car, make sure you tighten down this clamp, this little drain cock valve on the bottom of the catch can. That way you don't have oil just dripping out onto the frame of your car and onto the ground. Because it looks like it came in a loose position, so make sure it's tight. Same thing with the front one as well. So, intercooler is back on. Catch can's installed. I did have to rotate this clamp here because it was just barely touching the intercooler, so keep that in mind. You might have to do that on yours if you have an aftermarket one. I don't know if the factory one would fit properly or not, but anyway, not a big deal. So now they want us to take our handy dandy razor blade and cut a section of hose off of here and make sure not to cut the plastic tubing inside. Just get the sheathing off. So we're gonna do that real quick. Cool, so after you got the sheathing cut off, basically what we're gonna be doing is putting the other catch can kind of right here in line with this tube. So what they want you to do is cut out the elbow of the plastic tubing. And I already put my own little marks on there, and it might be a good idea for you to do that too, just so you kind of have an idea of where you want to cut and start with. Because if we do it this way, it'll leave just enough room for this tubing to go onto here, and for this tubing to go on here. So I'm going to cut that out real quick, and we'll see if it works. So these cutters here, I use these a lot for when I'm doing AOS installs, and I think this is pretty much all I'm going to need. So I'm just going to give it a nice little slice-a-roo. And then this one will do the same thing. Get it right about that elbow. Just cut right through it, I think. No, did it go through? I need to get a sharper one of these things, or buy a new one or something. There we go. And the elbow is out. Okay, got our new catch can ready to go on, and I always recommend using a little bit of spray lubricant on the inside of these tubes. That way you don't, end up pushing too hard and breaking the catch can or anything stupid. So let's see if this goes on here nicely. Boop, easy cheesy. Let's see if I can one-hand this other one. Might be a little tough. Go. 1 second. I'm gonna put this down and push it down with both my hands. Alright, got it. So all I gotta do now, tighten down these clamps, and then I think we're pretty much done. Alright, and that's pretty much it. When you tighten those clamps down, make sure you don't go too tight. Remember that you're just going onto a plastic line, so you don't want to collapse it or crack it or do something dumb. Otherwise, as far as that install goes, it wasn't too bad. I'd say probably it should easily take you less than an hour if you're doing it for the first time. I don't think it's been that long yet for me, and I'm filming it for the first time, so as far as how well it works, I guess I'll have to have the customer check back in with me and let me know, but I assume having it on there is a lot better than not having it at all. We know that on direct injected engines, having an air oil separator or catch cam setup is always a good idea. You don't want to have any oil going into your intake, getting through, creating carbon deposits on your intake valves. And using this system, it'll catch any of the hot oil vapors moving through your PCV lines and trap them in those cans so you can drain it out later. But I think that's about it for this one today. I'm sure we'll probably have some more stuff coming up soon, so keep watching. Thanks.